I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Um, you're going to see me looking off to the side a lot. I am using a lot of notes now and a little bit of script just to help me with my adult ADHD. So I'm not going all over the place. I listen to your feedback. I know a lot of you enjoy the way that I deliver my content, and I'm still going to do it as authentically as I can. But sometimes when it's things that are super serious like this and safety related, I try my best to stay on script and on topic as much as I can. So this is one of those things. So I'm still gonna be me, but a little bit more tame, just a little bit for this topic. So, as the title says, we're going to be talking about what's happening in the world of aviation from your favorite, I hope, your favorite flight attendant. And I'm just going to give you some of the information that I rely on when it comes to making sure that I'm choosing a little bit more logic over just emotions, so that I'm able to keep flying in faith. Because this is my career. This is one of my careers that I chose, and I got a family to feed. So I can't allow the mass hysteria to basically freak me out of a job, right? To freak me out of what I'm doing. I forgot, this is not a job, it's a lifestyle. That's a whole other conversation. You can drop a comment if you want me to go into why this is not a job but an actual lifestyle, and why we refer to it as that versus anything else. So, like the title says, are planes actually crashing more? And we're going to go into the truth about aviation safety. I've gotten quite a bit of messages, inboxes, some text messages from people checking on me. First of all, I just want to take a moment to just breathe with intention, say thank you. I'm so glad. It makes me feel really great to know that there are so many of you that personally care about me and my children, and those who've prayed for my safety and other flight attendants' safety. Thank you very much. I think that's a very powerful vibration, so I don't take it lightly. And then two, I just want to breathe for a moment. Just breathe with intention, because this is scary. This is scary. There are some things that have affected it. I talked about that on my last video about my flight attendant life, and you could talk more about that. And I'm not going to go into it here. Here, I am just going to talk about the overall safety of aviation. So here we go. Obviously, we're seeing plane crashes in the news. People are panicking. I had a moment or two of panic. I had to deal with a moment or two of panic with my youngest, with my baby girl. And everyone's asking, and it's a very valid question, is it safe to fly anymore? So I want to answer the question about, are planes actually crashing more right now? Or is the media just making us think that they're crashing more? And some of the answers, giving myself a refresher, admittedly, shocked me. I think they will shock you too. So let's separate some fear from facts. Let's break it down. And let's talk about perception versus reality. So first of all, every time a commercial airliner has an issue, it's headline news. We're going to get into why I say commercial airliner in just a moment. But that's important to know. There are differences in air carriers or airliners. But every time something happens, and when it comes to a commercial one, it's going to be headline news. We're going to break down how they even label, and I think sometimes slightly mislabel, but get away with it because they still use it in a legal context. What's considered commercial and the different levels of commercial as well. So in the news, you got to remember, news is also entertainment. It is also entertainment. It is not super responsible. And it is there to get your attention. They have to get ratings. They have to get your attention. So they're going to look for the things that are going to make you gasp, that are going to make you afraid, that are going to grab at your emotions, because they got a job to do, and they are also entertainment. They're information, but they're going to say things in the most scandalous way and in the way to get the most reaction and most attention out of you. And all that is not always 100% true in context. I get it though. You see the stories. I see the stories. It feels like planes are falling out of the sky. And it just makes all of us really, really concerned, especially at first glance, without really, really looking at it a little bit deeper and asking some more questions. So here's a fact. In 2023, there were 416 aviation-related deaths worldwide. That sounds like a lot. And obviously, a moment of silence for those 416 souls, because it's still tragic. It's very sad. Absolutely. But let's compare that to car accidents. In the U.S. alone, not even all over the world, but in the U.S. alone, in that same year, 2023, there were over 40,000 people who perished in auto accidents. 416 across the whole world, 40,000 in the US alone. So let's just double it for the whole world. It's almost 100,000, fatalities in a vehicle versus 416. And let's call this estimations, because although these are the facts that were delivered, it could have been some underreporting. So we'll say these are estimates. And I'll tell you my sources at the bottom of this as well, because I think it's important to cite, where did I do my research? Some of you are not going to believe it anyway, because I actually talked to some people who said that everything you see on Google is a lie. I think you're a flat out moron. I can't have conversations with people who can't be reasoned with at all. But for the people of you who are reasonable, who understand that you can do some research, you can look up some sources and see what's reported and actually reasonably rely on that, I'm talking to you. So commercial airlines, out of those 416, I'm trying to be careful with my words, because I think social media cuts you off when you use certain words, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But out of those 416 fatalities, almost none of them, hear me, almost none of them were on major U.S. airlines. And there is a difference between major U.S. airlines and other airlines or air carriers who are not major, who are regional, that may have been owned by the majors. And we'll talk about that in a second too. Which are not your private charters, which are not your private planes. There's different air carriers, understand? So again, out of those 416 people who perished, almost none of them were on major U.S. carriers. That's important to understand, okay? Now, obviously, there are risks involved, but did you catch that? Did you pick up what I was putting down there? Generally, you're still safe. So let's look at the crash rate for airlines. So your chances of perishing in a plane crash, it is approximately 1 in 13.7 million. Okay? I wonder if your lottery chances are better than that. I don't know. Let me just do a quick little Google and see. What are my odds of winning lottery? Let's just say lottery in USA in total. Let's just see what happens. Moving a little slow. Oh, wow. The odds of lottery, 1 in 300 million. Okay. So still, odds are higher here. But 1 in 13.7 million. That's not bad. That's not bad. Your chance of dying your chance of perishing in a car crash, 1 in 101. Those are not great odds. 1 out of 101 people has a higher, you're looking at that. So tell me, and that's personally, I told you I'm going to try my best to stay on script, but I got to be me, right? So personally, that is why I personally do not like driving. I don't like driving. I try my best to avoid it. If I could afford a personal driver right now, I would have one, because I love professional drivers. I love relying on them and then being able to just sit back and relax. All that travel time, I could be relaxing, resting, breathing, stretching, reading emails, something else. I hate driving. I only do it because I absolutely have to, and because I can't afford a driver right now. But you know what? Keep tuning into my, so keep checking into all of my social media and supporting my business so I can get there, okay? Then we can all celebrate together. So tell me, when we're looking at those numbers, what's really more dangerous? I think you can answer that question. Not saying that there is not a risk when it comes to aviation travel. However, it is still it's so much more safer, obviously, than traveling on the ground. So we're going to look at who's really crashing. And this is where we're going to dive into a little bit about the differences in aviation carriers. So no shade at all. Some people are going to choose to get offended, and I just want to put this out there, because as flight attendants, we are all united by wings. We all have to have at least a minimum amount of training when it comes to FARs, Federal Aviation Regulations. I hope that none of you choose to get offended, and if you do, that's on you, because I'm gonna say it once and I'm gonna say it one time only. I'm just talking about the facts, and the difference is there is no shade whatsoever in carriers. And remember, you don't own none of these carriers anyway, okay? So get your feelings out of it. We're talking about facts. All right. So with that being said, not all planes are created equal, and not all airlines are created equal either. So when we talk about these crashes and incidences, we need to break them down into 3 groups. So the first group is private planes and general aviation, which has the highest risk. The second one is charter flights and air taxis. I would say moderate risk. The third one are your major commercial airlines. And I happen to be a flight attendant for a major. That is the lowest risk. Now, those are just the facts. Not saying that one is better or worse or whatever. You can have that conversation and not arguing with your mom and not me, okay? We're not here to talk about that. We're talking about levels of risk, okay? So with the first one, you've got your private planes and your general aviation. That is, unfortunately, you see like the celebrities that perish in accidents and stuff like that. That falls into this category. And most of your incidents, most of your crashes, they happen on these smaller private planes. And like your Cessnas, your smaller jets, personal hobby aircraft, things like that. Those planes are flown by people with the least amount of experience, the least amount of hours. They don't have the same regulations, things like that. They have much fewer backup systems on those aircrafts, and they don't have the strictest amount of regulations from the FAA like your major airlines do, and then even like the airlines who may work underneath a major and get to share the name. And we'll talk about that in a second as well, because it's something I don't like that these major news networks are doing when they are reporting some of these incidents, which makes so many people just look at the headline and go, I'm never flying again, or that's why I choose not to fly. And it kind of taps into a lot of your ignorance as well when it comes to that. So another statistic, let's use the same year, 2023. In 2023, there were 99 fatal aviation accidents that happened in general aviation. And that's compared to only 5 incidents on the large commercial jets. Again, that's in general aviation. That's, and people who typically have access to that, they're typically the ones that have the most access to, like, the money and stuff like that it takes to get that. So, hey, if you're poor and you can only fly on Spirit and stuff like that, take solace in the fact that your cheap seats are generally safer than the person who's got the private jet. So, hey, there's that. So your charter flights and your air taxis, I'm going to take a break. Shameless plug. There is a video on my on my YouTube, Ask Darling Nikki. All of my channels, all of my social media, everything is Ask Darling Nikki. Or you can go to my website, askdarlingnikki.com, and then you can click a link there to my YouTube. So I have a video series on my YouTube that is called The Pushback. And the reason for that is that's a term for aviation. But the Pushback video series is all about, and this will go on there as well once it's edited and all that. It talks about my life as a flight attendant, information, answering questions, people who may be interested in becoming one, blah, blah, blah. So there is a video about my very, very brief moment being a flight attendant or working for a charter airline. And it was absolutely dreadful. It was a hot mess. Maybe they're not all like that, but I definitely personally made a generalization after my experience there. What I heard about the airline before I even decided to accept that raggedy behind offer, and why I was like, all right, peace out, whatever. Just it was horrible. And so you can go and find that video. I think it may say why I decided not to, continue pursuing being a charter flight attendant. And again, no shade to the flight girlies. Some of my girlies and my girlfriends are charter flight attendants, and it's got its perks, but it definitely has a higher level of risk, and it's got a lot of its BS too. And I wasn't about that life, so whatever. But it's cool that I got hired by one. I got hired by a lot of airline companies. I think it's important to keep your resumes out there, keep them doors open, because these jobs ain't loyal.
Y'all, I'm officially a YouTube partner, and I just launched memberships. Join my community for exclusive perks like behind-the-scenes content, custom badges, and shout-outs. Hit that join button and let's level up together, because we're just getting started, baby.
So charter flights and air taxis, they have a moderate risk. So your charter flights and your air taxis, they're going to include your some of your regional charters, some of your medical transportation flights. There was a medical flight, unfortunately, that went down about an hour or so from me in Philly, and your private jet services. So a lot of your regionals and your a lot of your regionals are going to be like, for instance, when you saw the news saying American Airlines flight went down, I really, really resented that, because they were owned, yes, by American, or they shared the name, but it was another airline. I believe it was American Eagle. So yes, you can buy your ticket on American Airlines, but you were flying an American Eagle flight. American Eagle is another airline. It works for American. It takes care of a lot of their smaller flights and things like that, but that is not the same airline. It is a regional airline. They're not the same planes. They don't have the same federal aviation regulations. They don't have the same caliber of pilots. They don't have to have the same amount of hours. And so you've got your major airlines and you can book it. Same thing with this Delta. They keep saying Delta flight. And when you put a headline like that and you don't put enough context, everybody's like, oh my God, Delta just had an accident. Well, not exactly. They're wholly owned by Delta, but that was Endeavor Air. And there is a difference. You got your majors and you got your regionals. And the thing is, you can book it on Delta, but it was a regional flight. It was not the major airline that you were flying on. You were flying on a subsidiary that they own. So it's going to say that on and it may even say it on the plane, I think, as well. But they're owned by them, and there's still another company that's operating for Delta, and that other one was another company operating for American. And so everybody thinks, oh, I'm never flying again because this could happen to me. Not exactly. Not exactly. It was a regional flight. It was a regional plane. Again, all planes are not built the same. Those little, I like to call them puddle jumpers. That's when I was growing up, that's what I, heard a lot of adults when I was a kid refer to them as. I don't know what they're called now, but those puddle jumpers are typically when you get on a plane, it's got one aisle, one tiny little aisle. You have to check most of your bags because you're not fitting nothing on there but like a backpack or a carry-on. And it may have like one seat on each side, or maybe one seat on one side, two on the other. Those are regional planes. So yes, your ticket may say Delta or American or United, but again, they're not all built the same. It's a regional airline. It's a regional plane that does not have to have the same standards because they don't have the same routes, and they usually pick up your smaller routes to get you from A to B, because the larger ones and all that, not necessary for you to be on a major, to go from, I don't know, Dallas to Houston, for instance. Let me stop right here to say, I'm speaking for myself. I'm speaking based upon my own knowledge. Go ahead and do your own research as well. I do not, and I will not ever speak for an airline, okay? So if you don't like me, you trying to hem me up, okay? Screw you and your mama. I'm not talking for an airline. I'm not a spokesperson for any airline. I speak for myself based upon the knowledge that I have, based upon the knowledge that I look up as well, based upon my experiences as a flight attendant. And no, I'm not telling you who I fly for. All I'm going to say is I fly for a major U.S. carrier. And you will see pictures of me in my uniforms from flying for other companies in the past. And you can make all the assumptions you want. But when it comes to me trying to keep my, business, I'm not confirming or denying nothing when it comes to that. Ain't none of your business. None of your business. Because what you ain't going to do is try to dox me. Okay, and ruin me and my babies just because you don't like me. All right. Let's move it on. So another example, Alaska medical transport crash. Unfortunately, I think I just talked about that. This wasn't, so again, just going back to my notes, none of these were commercial airliners. They were your smaller charters or your smaller regionals, and there are differences. And again, another difference I think it's important for you to know is when it comes to your major U.S. carriers, and really you only have three. There's a couple that'll call themselves majors, and I guess they qualify. They actually technically qualify as. But you've got your three major legacy carriers. There are only three major legacy carriers, and that's Delta, United, and American. Although there's a couple of others that are considered major, they are not major legacy. So when you're dealing with those major aircrafts, they have redundancy systems built in, meaning if something happens to one engine, the other one, there's a backup. There's backups and backups for backups. And again, there are higher levels of regulations from the FAA. You have more than one pilot in the flight deck. Remember when it used to be called the cockpit? I said that for years, and I didn't even realize what that means. That is so sexist. If you're still saying it, I need you to stop, okay? I need you to stop because we're in 2025. It is called the flight deck, not the cockpit, because it's not full of cocks anymore, okay? as in peacocks. I'm guessing they're talking about not the body part. Maybe they were talking about peacocks because a lot of XYs love to puff up their chests and show their colors and stuff and walk around. Or maybe they meant cockpit as in like the cockfighters, those birds, the cockadoodle-doos. Or maybe they meant that for roosters because I think the roosters are the male birds that walk around, and so maybe that's what they meant. Maybe they didn't actually mean the cockpit as in the body part. Either way it goes, we're going to call it the flight deck, okay? Because that's exactly what it is. It's the flight deck. Or we can call it the flight crew. The people that are in that flight deck, they are the flight crew. And me and the girlies who do all the other work that a lot of y'all like to try to demean and demoralize, but have a heart attack and then see who's going to help you. Anyway, we are called the cabin crew. All right, and we are called flight attendants. While we're on that vein of discussion, we are called flight attendants. We are not stewardess, okay? We are not stewardess. Stewardess did not get the level of training that we got. Stewardess would serve you 3-course meals and things like that. Some of them did have to be nurses, but they were there for your service a lot. We are there, number one, for your safety, okay? We're there for your safety. Safety first. So when we tell you what to do, there's a reason, and you need to listen. I'm saying this because even on the major airlines, I cannot tell you how many times I come across people who will literally trade out their ego for equity, and they will choose ego every time, and then get in the way of the safety of themselves and everybody around them because they don't want to listen because their ego got an issue. Oh my God. It doesn't matter from first class all the way to row number 38. Like, we're still dealing with way too many issues of flight attendants having to use more of their training that we always hope that we don't have to use because of people who just don't want to listen. Listen, okay? And you should also know that it is a federal aviation violation. It is a federal violation when you decide that you do not want to obey crew members, that's us, instructions. It's for a reason, okay? We don't go to your work and tell you what to do. And we don't ask a lot of reasons why. Generally, I think, hopefully most of us don't. I know I don't. So don't come to our job and tell us what to do and ask for an explanation as to why. Go Google it. Just follow instructions, okay? There. All right, I got that out the way. So let's get to number 3, your major commercial airlines, which have the lowest risk. We're talking about the commercial airlines that fly your Boeing 737s. If it's not Boeing, I'm not going because I don't like the next category, which is Airbuses. Some people love the Airbuses. I'm a Boeing girl. I just want you to 777 and up me, 777 me and 787 me, and that's all I want to fly on. 737s, I hate touching the girt bar. Okay, that's a whole nother conversation that I may or may not be able to have, but I'm gonna leave it there. But they're your major commercial airlines, which have the lowest risk, they're going to be flying your Boeings, your Airbuses, and other large commercial jets that are the safest category of air travel. Again, the safest. So I'm going to go back over 1 and 2 really quickly and just say the names. So you got category 1, that's your private planes, general aviation. Category 2, charter flights, air taxis, that's moderate risk. Highest risk for the category 1. So now we're in 3. All right, so let's get with that. These planes have always at least 2 pilots in the flight deck, at least 2. And back in the day, whoever the lead captain was, you would have to follow that lead captain's orders, and that was that, and don't question them. We've come a long way. You've come a long way. It is not like that anymore. When it comes to a crew, we are all a crew. You know, when it comes to the flight deck, they got the same wings, so there is no just everybody shut up and listen to the lead captain. They're all working together because you need checks and balances, right? You got to have it. You got to have it. 2 is better than 1. But oftentimes you're going to have more than that, depending on, you know, how long the flight is and things like that, because we all need to be fit to fly, and we need to be fit in every way, mentally, physically, all that stuff. And so you don't want anything to get fatigued. The same thing in the back. You're getting the same thing in the rest of the plane when it comes to the flight crew. We all earn the same wings, so ain't no big I and little you. We're all working together. And who gonna check me, boo? We're supposed to check ourselves and each other, respectfully. So you've got multiple backup systems. I think you heard me use the word redundancy and redundancy systems. You've got multiple backup systems on these aircrafts, which means if for some reason, first of all, before the flight leaves, y'all get mad when you got to wait for boarding and stuff, but there's a reason, okay? Because pre-flight checks save lives. And I'm one of them people where I'm checking everything and I'm checking again because, hello, I want to get home safely to my babies. So we're all checking things even before we go. These are all machines, and things happen. Things can happen all the time. Or if you hear that the pilot get on the air, get on the intercom and say, or interphone or PA and say something about we have to call for maintenance, you better start thanking your stars, your gods, whatever, because there's a reason for that. Even we don't want to ever have to rely on the backup systems. Now they're there, but there are a lot of checks and inspections that are done on a regular basis in between flights and everything else to make sure that it remains the safest form of travel, okay? And those backup systems are there just in case. And so other aircraft do not have as much when it comes to your safety, the safety that's already built in, the safety that comes with all of the training that all of us in uniform have and practice on a regular basis, and also the regulations. Your major commercial airlines have the strictest form of regulations. And again, all those rules and regulations, even the ones that you don't like, that don't seem to make any sense. When we say you have to unplug something, you got to clear the row and push that bag underneath the front seat. Underneath the seat in front of you. When we said you got to lift up your whatchamacallits and turn your phones to airplane mode, all of that is for a reason. We have the strictest form of regulations for you, okay? And we're not here for your convenience first, okay? Because we're here for your safety first. There's a reason for all that. So even in the case of mechanical failures, again, all these aircrafts have redundant systems and emergency protocols that will allow for safe landings. And that's why sometimes things can happen and we're still able to land safe. And if it's a hard landing or if an evacuation is necessary, if you were listening to your crew members and also paying attention to that safety, that pre-flight demo, when we have to evacuate your behinds, if we have to, that we're able to do it very quickly and make sure that everyone stays as safe as possible and secure the best possible outcomes.
Hey ladies, I'm here to introduce you to legal empowerment through LegalShield and ID Shield. Did you know that with your membership, you get a free will and estate plan? That's right. Protect your future with legal protection at your fingertips. Whether you need a lawyer, want to protect your identity, or just want peace of mind, LegalShield has you covered. As Black women, we know the importance of protecting ourselves and our families, and having the right legal support is essential. And it's not just about protection. Legal empowerment is also a great opportunity to build additional income. I'm looking for ambitious women to join Ladies of Justice, a community of powerful women making a difference. Join today and take control of your future. Contact me now and let's make sure you're covered, legally and financially.
Since 2009, this is a fact, according to my source, there have been 0 fatal crashes on major U.S. airlines since 2009. I think that's a pretty darn good record. And again, that's, hold on. Wait a minute, 0 fatal crashes. Okay, I'm guessing they're not talking about, the intentional stuff, because obviously we know, and I'm not going to say that out loud because I don't know if this whole live will get shut down if I say the number or the year, 9/11. So I think we're talking about accidents, not intentional, unfortunate acts of terrorism. Whew. I'll tell you something, being based where I'm based and walking past the gate and walking past the path of those people and those flight attendants, it is such a sobering moment. And seeing the memorials that we have in our area, of course, it's a reminder. And I hope that all flight attendants that walk by those areas and those sacred spaces, I hope that it's a reminder for them to remember why we do what we do and remember our responsibilities, and to take it seriously. It's fun. This career, this lifestyle, it is fun for the most part, and it's glamorous in a lot of ways. But there are, days and moments that are not fun and that are real serious and that cause you to face your and other people's mortalities. That's all I'm going to say about that. So the next time so again, we'll talk about some stats here. So general aviation, trying to keep on track, right? General aviation, you've got 99 fatal accidents per year. That's an average. Your charter and your charter flights, that's a moderate risk. You're looking at 10 to 20 average for fatalities per year, or accident. Yeah, fatal accidents per year. Your major airlines, that mixed soda. So your major airlines, you're looking at almost zero fatalities per year when you are flying on a major airline. So you don't have to be afraid to fly. Okay, you don't have to be afraid to book that first ticket. And again, I'm not speaking for no airline, because they are not paying me to try to convince any of you guys to buy a ticket. Plus that money don't go directly to me anyway, which is why you see flight attendants on the picket line and everything else and having contract negotiations. And I'm gonna leave that right there. Whew, let me stay on track. So the next time someone says planes are crashing all the time, ask them which planes. Which ones? Which ones? Who were they? Get more information and look it up for yourself as well. Because if you are flying on your major U.S. carriers, especially if it's the major legacies, and there's only 3. Now, I'm not saying don't fly on the other ones, again, because ain't none of them paying me to tell me, none of them are paying me to tell you who to fly and who not to fly. Okay, that's not what I'm here for, because ain't none of them paying me to be their spokesmodel or spokesperson. Again, I speak for myself, and I only speak for the facts that you can find on Google and things like that. But if you're flying on those, you are statistically much safer walking down the aisle of the jet bridge to get on a major U.S. carrier aircraft than walking down the street. And that's a statistical fact. Ooh, speaking of walking down the aisle, you guys know I am a feminist. I am black woman first. And I just heard and just said walking down the aisle. So I got to say this as well. In the current times that we're living in when it comes to relationshipical stats, I think that, ladies, you are safer walking down the aisle of a jet bridge than you are walking down the aisle to a funeral. I mean, wedding. All right. So let's get back on track here. Why it feels more like planes are C-wording or crashing, since I say the word crash and I haven't got shut down. So I guess I can keep saying that. So why does it feel like this is happening more? I got 2 words for you. Media sensationalism. This is another reason why I love TikTok and I love social media, because you're able to get a lot of the real from the real without the sensationalism and without the agenda that can be behind media that's owned by the political Crips or Bloods. Because if a 737 loses a panel, it's everywhere. Nobody even no one may have passed away from that, but it's going to be everywhere because it makes for good news. If a small private plane crashes, typically it's crickets, unless it's the flavor of the the flavor of the month, or the flavor of the what's what I'm looking for, of the season, which it just happens to be right now. It's not that more planes are having accidents right now. It's that we're hearing about them so much more in real time right now. We've got more social media. We've got a lot more media that gets to play 24/7, and they don't have the same regulations anymore. There used to be a time when they had to tell both sides of the story and keep everything fair. They don't have to anymore. You Google all that yourself to find out more about that and come to your own conclusion. So it's not that it's happening more or less. It's just we've got more access to it now, and this is just what it is. So they're able to put it all out there and put it out there the way that they want to, without, I don't think, being as responsible as I would prefer them to be, and I don't think I'm alone in that. So, example, the Alaska Airlines door blew out, and it was terrifying, but the pilots were able to land it safely, and the flight attendants did what they were supposed to do as well to keep everybody safe. No one perished, but we still saw Alaska Airlines had a door blowout. And that was dominating the headlines for days. And they made it seem like it was an aviation catastrophe. Checking, I thought I saw some people pulling up to the property. And I'm like, I'm not expecting nobody. So who are you? Who are you? All right. So I'm coming to a conclusion here, getting to the end of this. If we heard about every car crash that happened on the highways, I think that we would likely never drive again. A lot of us would decide, nah. But we don't hear about every crash. We just don't. The truth is that it's not that our planes are crashing more. Right now, the media is just much louder about it. And like everything else that has its time to shine in this little 5 minutes of fame in the media, this is going to go away as well. So what does this mean for you? If you are flying on a major airline, I think you can relax. You can relax. You don't see flight attendants walking out and being like, never mind, I quit. You don't see that, right? And when you're flying, another thing is, when you feel some turbulence or you feel like something's going on, stop coming to your own conclusions. Look around. Do you see the flight attendants freaking out? Do you see us giving you instructions? Do you hear us hollering, brace, brace, brace? You all right, okay? Mind your business. Let us do what we do. Say a little prayer, relax, get you a little drink to chill yourself out, whatever. take yourself I don't know, whatever you need to take, an Ambien to get some rest. Like, chill. We know what we're doing. We know what we're doing, and we are trained to get you home safely no matter what, okay? We're trained to be able to make sure that we can help to secure the most favorable outcomes no matter what the condition is, all right? You don't see us walking out. Now, you may see us walking out and picketing for other reasons because we want our money. That's another conversation. I'm trying to leave that alone, but you don't see us walking out for this, okay? So relax. You can relax. Fly with faith. Whatever that looks like to you, you are safer on your flight than you're ever going to be in your car, okay? If you're flying on a private or a charter, please do your research. Please do your research. I had an offer and it just looked amazing. You know, black card, credit card, and amazing starting salary. This is my minimum salary no matter what, to go and work for. And I took the offer and went down the road of training and stuff with this one charter, and they were based out of Tennessee. I'm gonna tell you that, so you can Google it. They were absolutely dreadful, and the stuff that we were told to overlook in training, I'm so glad that the FAA looked into them. Don't really know what the outcomes were, but do your research, okay? And I'm saying this from my own experience and the facts that I saw and the foolishness that I saw. I can't speak for all of those charters and those private companies, but I can tell you that I got, again, a lot of girlies, and I have a relative who works for the FAA, and I have heard some things. Do your research. And if you are a person that is privileged to have a lot of money and a lot of options in that area, whether you earned it or not, that's another conversation. You need to remember that aviation travel needs to be taken seriously, okay? Your convenience, that photo shoot or whatever you're trying to get to, it is not more important than safety first. So you need to listen to the professionals, and I'm hoping that the professionals always will have enough integrity and enough willpower and inner strength to be able to say no when they need to, because safety first, okay? You can always rebook or reschedule whatever. You can always buy more luggage if you need to. I'm saying all these things for a reason, because these are reasons why people have lost their lives in the private and the charter sector. Safety freaking first, okay? Not your convenience, not what you want, okay? Let these professionals do what they're supposed to do and keep your behind safe. Check the safety record of those companies, those privates and those charters. Check the experience level of those pilots. This is your life. This is your life in your hands, even more when you're flying in those sectors, okay? If the media makes you feel like you're in a panic, remember that just because something is getting more coverage, it does not mean that it's happening more often. And it does not mean that you have to take everything that they say at face value as well. Remember, the media, that's entertainment as well. It is. So the bottom line, air travel, it's still the fastest and the safest way to get around. So you can book a flight, take that trip. Don't let fear stop you from living your best life. And I think that's it. So I hope this helps you to calm your fear of flying. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that after this. Tag a friend who just absolutely refuses to get on a plane because it's too dangerous. I still know several of those people. I'm not tagging you because I know you'll be watching my stuff anyway. If you love traveling, then remember, safety, logic over fear. When you see this, if you're seeing this on my YouTube later on, please hit the subscribe button. I don't know if you can subscribe on most of my other social media platforms. I think you can on Facebook. So YouTube and Facebook, make sure you subscribe. If you're obviously, if you made it to this part of the content, then you enjoyed it, you liked it, you found some value in it. Make sure you're liking, you're commenting, talk back to me in the comments. As a creator, this means a lot for you to show your support, and it also means some coinage, okay? It means some coinage, and I thank you to only those of you that want to see me win, those of you that tap in. There is a book for purchase. You can go to my website, askdarlingnikki.com, and get that digital copy of that book. You can get a printed copy as well. There's a gig next month, but that's for you people in New Jersey. So you'll see it. You may see it, you may not. I may post some information later on about that, or some video clips. I think that's it. I think that's all that I have to tell you as far as that's concerned. And hey, I'm Darling Nikki. Used to be called Nicoley Boo. That was my childhood nickname since the age of 2. I am your favorite flight attendant. I am a singer. I am a published author. I am a content creator, obviously. I am a speaker. I'm a survivor. And most of my content and most of my platform is always standing in transformative truth. I am a Black woman first. I am all about exposing the effects of narcissistic abuse, of childhood abuse, things like that, because these are all things that I had to deal with, of SA. These are things that I had to deal with and that I had to overcome and do the work to overcome. So that is the majority of what I talk about. And also talk about XYs behaving badly because it is, it's a worldwide epidemic and it is happening. Whew, the patriarchy, uh, I'm trying to figure out how to put this in, like, just kind of wrap this up into a little neat little ball swing so I can get off this live. But these are things that I speak about, that I speak against, that I try to help and encourage more women to recognize, to clock it and block it, and to have more control over their life and their destiny, and to be more focused on the outcomes of their life first. Because we know that, first of all, the childhood abuse to domestic violence pipeline is real. We also know that um, the being a stay-at-home mom or a mom that does not cannot stand on your own 2 feet, that pipeline to being a single mother is real as well. And also the pipeline of being a self-actualized woman and then somehow getting with some getting with some dusty, that can ruin you real quick after doing all the work of building up your own life. So I talk about all the different outcomes that we want to avoid and the outcomes that we want to try to focus on as a woman, and particularly as a non-ambiguous Black woman, because if I don't give us the love, and if we don't give us the love and focus on ourselves more, historically, who will and who does, right? All right, have a great day, and that's it. Bye bye. Oh my gosh, I forgot one more thing. I said that I was going to give you my sources. So quickly, let me give you that. Oh, this is kind of like when you're done watching a movie and you're looking for the extra little credits. Here's your extra little B-roll, C-roll, whatever. So really quickly, the sources. So the first source that I used was the IATA, International Air Transport Association, their 2023 safety report about fatalities and accidents. The other source was from Airbus. It was their report from 2022 and 2023. The other report was from Boeing. It showed their 2023 statistical summary. Another one was from the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board. They provided their comprehensive statistics on U.S. aviation accidents from 2004 to 2023. Two more for you. Oh, a couple more actually here. So airsafe.com was another source. Another source is called panish.shay. They showed updated aviation accident statistics. Another one was the BTS, Bureau of Transportation Statistics. And then the other ones are just kind of the same, just a couple other reports from Boeing and Airbus. So there you have it. Those are my sources. Again, I always encourage you to do your own research as well. All right, make it a peaceful, prosperous, and productive day. I'm out. For real this time.